Madden holiday is here and we will play all night. Calling sick and sound sincere, in tackles will delight. The fridge is packed with drink and meat, the taste of victory sure is sweet.
Okay, so we didn't have a terrible first week at all, did we? I mean, Texas A&M fell apart in the second half, so that kept me from going undefeated. But other than that, I basically got everything else right. I mean, USC and LSU came right down to the wire, but most of the other stuff was blowouts. I mean, yeah, you could say NDSU and Colorado were close, but Colorado kind of pulled away a little bit in the second half, and then NDSU rallied, but they were kind of the victim of bad clock management. I didn't really get to watch too much this week, though. I mean, I was too busy working with wrestling and the Deathlock videos, so yeah, I kind of missed out on that part, a lot of that stuff. So I had to just basically keep as updated as I could be. I did watch, I did watch most of the NDSU game, and I also watched Texas A&M and Notre Dame, but that was about it. Okay, so this week we're starting our previews for the NFL games, and that means we're covering 8 games right now. So, yeah, like I said, it's a loaded slate. College-wise, we have Texas versus Michigan, Temple versus the Naval Academy, Tennessee versus NC State, and Illinois versus Kansas. And then, of course, on the NFL side, we have Baltimore taking on Kansas City, Green Bay taking on Philadelphia and Brazil, Los Angeles Rams taking on the Detroit Lions, and the New York Jets taking on the San Francisco 49ers. Those, of course, being the Sunday and Monday night games. In fact, these are all primetime games. Okay, so we'll take a break, and then we'll get to previewing these games, because, yeah, it's a loaded slate.
To a 7-year-old, velocity, mass, and momentum aren't as interesting as the song on the radio. And crash test dummies don't go on family vacations. But the people who buy Volkswagen Jettas do. That's why the new Jetta has dual airbags, front and rear crumple zones, side impact beams, and a rigid passenger safety cage. Velocity, mass, and momentum don't mean much to children, and we plan on keeping it that way. For a limited time, you can lease a Volkswagen Jetta for just $199 a month.
Every time you cold start your car without Slick 50 protection, metal grinds against metal in your engine. With each turn of the ignition, you do unseen damage. Because at cold startup, most of the oil is down in the pan. But Slick 50's unique chemistry bonds to engine parts. It reduces wear up to 50% for 50,000 miles. So get Slick 50 while there's still time. Slick 50 engine formulas, the world's #1 selling engine treatments.
It has Sony Full HD 1080p.
Wow.
You'll see incredibly high contrast and an extremely smooth film-like picture.
Well, you sound like quite the expert. Anything else I should know?
Yes. The slants are working against the sand blitz, but why not throw a screen pass every once in a while? Slow down that edge rush.
Screen pass, yeah. Why don't you show me?
Okay.
At least he knows HD TV.
Come test drive the power of Sony Full HD 1080p at BrandSmart USA.
Okay, so in our first matchup, we have Wolverines, but sadly no Deadpools. That's right, it's the University of Texas Longhorns taking on the Michigan Wolverines in Ann Arbor. Now, both teams are coming off victories over, all due respect to the Bulldogs of Fresno State and the Rams of Colorado State. They were cupcake opponents. Texas and Michigan should have won those games. That being said, Michigan kind of struggled in the first half and had to pull away in the second to beat Fresno State, while Texas was basically resting their starters at the end of the first quarter. Now, even though Texas did dominate Colorado State, I do think there's still some questions about the Longhorns' defense. I mean, again, all due respect to the Rams, they're not exactly the greatest barometer in these situations here. To that end, I expect Michigan to really play the ball control here. They're going to run the ball, they're going to eat the clock, they're going to do everything they can to keep the ball out of the hands of Quentin Ewers. That being said, when the defensive scenarios do inevitably turn up, the Wolverine defense is going to have to do everything humanly possible to stop the Longhorn passing attack, which means Texas's running backs are also going to have to step up. And it's kind of because of that in the end, I do think Texas is just a better team than Michigan right now. They are more than capable of withstanding any onslaught by the Wolverine defense, and they can definitely play the long game with the Wolverines. So I'm guessing Texas probably pulls away. Wolverines try to keep it as close as they can, but Texas will probably win this by 6 to 10 points.
With millions of Americans still enjoying the convenience of their local True Value, it's clear a lot of folks can't be bothered traveling to one of those out-of-the-way hardware warehouses. It's True Value's spring sale. Get a Lufkin power tape for just $6.97 and a Rubbermaid trash can for only $7.77.
Price check, aisle 300, please.
True Value. Help is just around the corner.
Oh, Bob, look! What do I think? I don't know.
What's the use of even trying? You can't get a break.
New Tempest 2000. What's that? Only on the Jaguar 64-bit by Atari. Do the math.
The king of gamblers.
What was it, stud? No, I think I prefer draw. Just kidding.
The queen of hearts.
You were good.
No, you weren't just good. You were very good. The jack of all trades.
$1 million to the winner.
They're all trying to give each other the royal flush. Maverick, a Richard Donner film, rated PG. Starts Friday, May 20th.
Hi, I'm Jason, the Red Ranger and the leader of the Power Rangers.
Wow, it's the Red Ranger! Oh, he's so morphin'.
It's tough taking on some of the meanest uglies, but when I call on the power of the mighty Tyrannosaurus, I kick it. What a cool gig. I save people, protect cities, fight monsters.
And you also have to do your homework.
Man, a superhero's job is never done. So be sure to watch me and the other Mighty Morphin Power Rangers weekdays and Saturday on Fox.
Okay, so we do have a heated rivalry of sorts. I mean, Temple is in Philadelphia, the Naval Academy is in Annapolis, so they're pretty close to each other, and this is technically a rematch of the second ever American Athletic Conference Football Championship game, so I guess you could say they're rivals. Okay, so in week 1, the Temple Owls got completely clobbered by Oklahoma. No real shock there. And Navy did take down Bucknell, an FCS opponent. So, again, no real shock, but you could definitely say Temple played maybe the stronger opponent. That being said, when it comes to the Naval Academy, we're of course talking about the flexbone triple option offense and how hard it can be for anyone to stop, really. I mean, it's not exactly the days under Paul Johnson, but, Naval is still very strong at this, and I believe has put some scares into some teams in the past few years. So in order to hang with the midshipmen, the Owls are definitely going to have to increase their offensive efficiency. They can't just settle for field goals. That's not going to cut it. They're going to have to work really hard to overpower Navy, which they may be capable of doing. I mean, all due respect to men and women serving in the military, in particular the Navy in this instance. When you're attending the Naval Academy, you're attending the Naval Academy, and you just happen to be playing football. Whereas even at Temple, if you're a scholarship athlete, you're there to play football for Temple and go to school. Basically, a top-rate athlete is more likely to be going to Temple than they are to Navy. Again, nothing against the people who serve in the Naval Academy. I have all the respect in the world, but I'm just kind of stating the way things are. That being said, the flexbone triple option is really the great even in all of this. It's probably going to be way too much for the Owls. I'm guessing the Navy midshipmen win by a couple of touchdowns here, so yeah, Navy wins pretty big.
A bit wild, a bit sweet, a bit crazy.
A bit small, a bit cool, a bit more usual.
Bite-sized bits of crunchy heat toffee wrapped in creamy milk chocolate. Heat sensations.
A bit toffee. Heat sensations.
Beneath McDonald's, your favorite characters from the movie Batman Forever are being captured in high-quality chiseled glass. Take a break for the Gotham Glassware Collection. Just 99 cents each when you buy any extra value meal or any other food purchase.
When parents work, the kids should help out at home. My son does the dishes. He's great at it. I can always count on him to do them right away, before any food dries on.
No matter who does the dishes, Cascade does the dirty work. Other leading brands can leave spots, so your dishes look dirty. Cascade with sheeting action gets them so clean, they're virtually spotless.
Perfect. Thanks to Mr. Dependable here.
Our next matchup is the Tennessee Volunteers taking on the North Carolina State Wolfpack because, SEC, ACC matchups worked so well last week, they decided to try this again. Now, the Wolfpack are coming off a very uninspired performance against FCS opponent Western Carolina, while Tennessee put up 69, points against UT Chattanooga, another FCS opponent. The Wolfpack game against Western Carolina is particularly troubling, as many were picking NC State to maybe be a dark horse contender in the ACC this year, though admittedly, the way the rest of the ACC played last week, that could still be up in the air. The Wolfpack will definitely be hoping for conference play to begin soon. If the Volunteers play the way they did last week, their offense may be just too strong to stop, and this game might not be close at all. So yeah, NC State's probably going to need a lot of help to try to keep this thing in tight, and even then, I don't know if they really can. I'm picking Tennessee to win this one by at least 21 points. I think they're just too strong an opponent with college football playoff aspirations here, so yeah, Volunteers big time.
Lots of choices here.
It's confusing.
Look, most major sports are shot on Sony HD cameras.
So if sports are shot on a Sony, shouldn't you watch them on one?
Yes. I don't really like sports.
Nothing's better for sports than a Sony Bravia HD TV. High definition. It's in Sony's DNA.
Statistics show that during this commercial, thousands of viewers will leave their TV sets and use the bathroom. Before you leave, we'd like to remind you that if your plumbing isn't working, Mr. Rooter is 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Starving for silliness?
Yes, I would just love a duck dinner.
Craving some fun? On the run?
Let's see, what do pretty cats like to eat?
We're cooking up mouth-watering mayhem.
Rabbit sandwich. Good.
For a feeding frenzy of fun. Watch Merry Melodies, weekdays on Fox.
Okay, our final college matchup is the Illinois Fighting Illini taking on the Kansas Jayhawks in football. So yeah, we have two more teams that are coming off victories over FCS opponents, that being Eastern Illinois and Lindenwood, respectively, for Illinois and Kansas. Not to mention, last year these two teams did engage in a pretty big shootout, with the Jayhawks being a contender in the Big 12 now. Again, in football, they managed to bring back much of their offense from last year. However, their defense, I still think, leaves some questions. On the other hand, we have the very perplexing Illinois Fighting Illini. Sometimes they can look really good against teams, and sometimes they can look really good against teams they probably should look really good against. Like, no, I'm not picking them to beat Ohio State and Michigan in the world, but they would look really good against, say, Wisconsin or even Penn State, and then, struggle to barely scrape by against an Indiana or a Rutgers. Not to mention, they really had to rally towards the end of the season to even make a bowl game. And they're going to need to help and the Illini are going to need to really be ultra competitive in this now ultra stacked Big Ten conference. In the end, I'm guessing we're probably going to have another shootout game that could actually be the game of the entire day. with maybe Kansas holding on just barely or getting a last-second field goal or something of that nature to win this. I'm picking the Jayhawks.
You're watching the most committed professionals in home entertainment bring you the clearest, most reliable picture you'll ever see. People trained to bring the magic of fiber optics into your home. People who take pride in customer service, who reflect the winning spirit of their company. You're watching the people of Cox Cable, bringing you our best by giving you their best. And you thought you were just watching television.
Beware, for now she was the leech woman.
It's a beautiful day. Why don't you kids do something different for a change?
Get out, go!
Okay, Mom.
Introducing the great taste of new Taco Supreme flavored Doritos tortilla chips.
That was a good idea. That was a real good idea.
It's a hot world. Make sure you have a cool citrus drink.
Drench it, squirt your thirst. Hey, squirt your thirst.
Nothing outlasts the Energizer battery. It keeps going and going.
Okay, the NFL season is finally here, which means the countdown to the Chiefs' inevitable three-peat has begun. Yeah, I know, that's not really that great a thing to say, but let's face it, that's what everyone's probably thinking, as we have a rematch of last year's AFC Championship game between the Baltimore Ravens and Kansas City Chiefs. Now, the Ravens are definitely a new-look team this year, having lost the likes of J.K. Dobbins, Gus Edwards, and Patrick Queen, but gaining Derrick Henry and a few wide receivers as well. That being said, the Chiefs have also loaded up in the wide receiver game, drafting Xavier Worthy, probably the wide receiver steal of the entire draft. Not to mention, they have the likes of Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, Isaiah Pacheco, Chris Jones, and, well, the rest coming back to play as well. Added to that, the fact that Mike McDonald, the defensive coordinator of the Ravens, is now coaching the Seahawks, and a lot of these changes could be too much for the Ravens' defense whatsoever. In the end, I have learned my lesson from last year, and I will not be ever picking against the Chiefs again until the day Patrick Mahomes probably drops dead. I must accept the fact that we now live in the age of Deathmate, and there will never be joy or love ever again. The Chiefs will handily win this game, probably by more than 17 points.
Play your best with Peyton Manning.
Let's look at the mechanics of how I learned to throw the football. Step 1, wipe the windshield. Step 2, elbow your brother. Step 3, flick the booger off your finger.
See ya.
And let's see that all together. Ooh, that's pretty. That's...
Touchdown.
See you on game day.
Another tip from Gatorade, the official sport drink of Peyton Manning and the NFL.
Ming Dynasty welcomes you to taste the tradition of the finest Szechuan, Mandarin, and Hunan cuisine, using only the freshest seafood available, just as it once was prepared for the emperors of China. Enjoy an exotic cocktail from our full-service bar. Try our vegetarian menu. We also have a banquet facility to easily accommodate the largest parties, and our delivery service for home dining arrives straight from the kitchen. The only Chinese restaurant in Santa Barbara to win the prestigious Southern California Restaurant Writers Silver Award. Ming Dynasty invites you to taste the tradition.
Look out! Get ready for the time of your life! Get the mutants!
It's all new explosive X-Men excitement on Fox.
Don't y'all leave now. The fun just started.
There's all new action. Let's take these sardines out of the can. All new adventure.
Y'all want to play catch?
All new danger. I'll destroy all the X-Men. You've got to see it to believe it. You're mine. So watch all new X-Men excitement explode this Saturday morning on Fox. And watch out, get out of the way!
Our next matchup is our big Brazilian matchup in Sao Paulo between the Green Bay Packers and the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, it's been mentioned a few times before, but technically this is actually supposed to be an Eagles home game, even though the Green Bay Packers actually have the broadcast rights for the nation of Brazil. It must be because of the green and gold colors. Anyway, the Eagles started out last year as the hottest team in the league and then completely crashed out and wound up losing in the wild card. While the Green Bay Packers actually started out pretty cool, but then managed to catch fire towards the end of the season, make the playoffs, and almost win 2 playoff games. Of course, the Eagles did manage to load up quite a bit in free agency in the draft, signing Saquon Barkley, drafting the likes of Quinion Marshall, Cooper DeJean, and others, while the Packers made their own big splash in free agency, signing running back Josh Jacobs. That being said, I think in the end the Eagles are going to need to throw the ball and throw the ball downfield and not just rely on the tush push to get points in this league anymore. The Packers have strong confidence in the fact they have a new defensive coordinator and a better offense, and it's stable now. I think in the end the Packers are just going to be the better team right here. It's a de facto home game for them. I'm thinking they're going to win this by at least 10 points. So yeah, I'm picking the Packers over the Eagles in this one.
When you want a hot meal without a big deal, what are you gonna pick? Hot Pockets. When a hungry bunch shows up for lunch, what are you gonna pick? Hot Pockets.
Hot Pockets, filled with delicious pepperoni pizza, chicken and cheddar, or ham and cheese in a crispy pocket.
When it's late at night and you want a tasty bite, what are you gonna pick? Hot Pockets.
The hot meal in a pocket.
What are you gonna pick? Hot Pockets.
Try Lean Pockets, too.
Howdy.
Woody.
We ain't from around here. Really?
Keeper.
Damn, that looks like it hurts.
They're unstoppable.
Look, Mom, cowboys.
Unpredictable. And unbeatable.
Maybe we ought to show them how old Pancho Villa used to make guys talk. Our friend here is not wearing any underpants.
The Cowboy Way. Rated PG-13. Starts Friday, June 3rd at theaters everywhere.
The Tom and Jerry kids will turn your world upside down.
How the heck did he do that?
They're unstoppable. Watch the Tom and Jerry Kids Show weekday afternoons on Fox.
We have another playoff rematch as the LA Rams take on the Detroit Lions in the Sunday Night Football matchup for Week 1. Now, of course, the Lions are entering the season as legit Super Bowl contenders, but the Rams have also loaded up to make a run at the San Francisco 49ers and at least be conference champions. All of this despite the fact that Aaron Donald retired, the defense may have actually improved over last year. That being said, the Lions have loading up too, probably getting the DB steal in the draft in Terry and Arnold. That being said, I have some concerns over their wide receiver position, which I think got a little banged up in the preseason. That being said, the Rams wide receiver core is now coming in completely healthy, and now you have Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp on the same team, which should really help add some more weapons to Matthew Stafford. In the end, I think the Lions fans are rightly hyped. I do think the Lions are probably the most likely NFC representative in the Super Bowl this year, but I think the Rams have a little bit more talent right now, and they could wind up pulling this out in the end by a last-second field goal or touchdown. So, yeah, Lions may still make the Super Bowl, but I'm picking the Rams to win in Week 1.
We are flesh and we are blood, and we are bound together, for better or worse, in sickness and in health, through thick and through thin, in good times and in bad, until death or the World Championship title do us part.
Yeah!
We are flesh and we are blood, and we are bound together, for better or worse, in sickness and in health, through thick and through thin, in good times and in bad, until death or the World Championship title do us part.
Big odors
odors lurk in small places.
Stick it to 'em with stick-ups.
Big odors linger in small places.
Stick it to 'em with stick-ups.
Concentrated Airwick stick-ups stop big odors in small places. Airwick stick-ups.
Stick it to 'em.
Come on along and head for the mountains of Bush Beer. Head for the mountains, it's cold and it's smooth and it's waiting for you. Come on, head for the mountains of Bush Beer.
And for our final matchup, it's the Monday night game as the New York Jets travel to San Francisco to take on the 49ers, or in other words, Aaron Rodgers, take two. Yes, obviously, the great unknown is how Aaron Rodgers is going to bounce back from his major Achilles injury last year, so we're going to have to see how that plays out. And yeah, because I can't seem to update the rosters in Madden 24, this is why you're seeing Zach Wilson playing for the Jets right now. That being said, even if Rodgers maybe isn't the best at this point, he can still rely on Breece Hall to provide solid running support, and of course, the defense can carry the Jets if they need to. Obviously, the 49ers are trying to avoid another Super Bowl hangover. They managed to sign Brandon Ayuk, and then just before I recorded this, news broke that they restructured Trent Williams' contract, so now his holdout is over as well. And of course, Christian McCaffrey and Deebo Samuel are still there. That being said, I'm still kind of concerned about the 49ers defense, which did have some major losses in free agency, and has a tendency to get really banged up sometimes. Not to mention, they lost a lot of really strange games last year. Teams they probably should have beaten, like the Vikings, Browns, and even to an extent the Ravens, I think were teams that they should have beaten last year, and they just kind of flopped really hard against. So, it's hard to maybe put an entire bit of faith behind the 49ers. In the end, though, I think the doubts about the Jets completely outweigh the doubts anyone has over the 49ers. I'm guessing the 49ers pull away in the second half and win by at least a couple possessions. So yeah, 49ers to win pretty big.
You can't miss our Wilder show with my cute sis and my bro. We all act like we're insane, along with Pinky and the Brain, Bobby Squid and Pesto, Scratch and Sniff, Hip Hip Hose, Rito Runt, Chicken Boo, Slappy Doo. We dance and sing and do all kinds of crazy things. Oh, we hear the amazing Animaniacs will split your sides in half. We are the most exciting ever, so watch us cause you'll love us. We'll be on your TV weekday afternoons right here on Fox.
And now, before the wrap-up, bonus overtime footage.
Possessions. In the second overtime, if we get there, you have to go for 2 points if you score a touchdown. And the third overtime, Kirk, just becomes a series of 2-point tries.
And I know that's your favorite, to see if we can get to that third series of these overtimes. I love extra football, so I'm looking forward to this. Let's see who's going to win it.
Longhorns have 1st and 10 here. Off the play fake, looking to throw. Lets it go. Catch made down the left side, an explosive play. And a big game before he goes out of bounds. The offense keeps churning, gets a fresh set of downs. Trying to run it. It's Blue. And they try to run inside, but nowhere to go. Coming to the line on second down. This is important. They want to avoid a 3rd and long. They'll try the ground game here with the running back. Doesn't quite get in, but it sets up a 1st and goal for this offense. So the offense will set up 1st and goal here in this first overtime. Running a quarterback sneak here. Touchdown, Texas. They strike first in OT.
And it's just a thing of beauty to watch this offense. That's this guy's 3rd touchdown. And give the offensive line a lot of credit. They're getting enough of a push to give him some room to show you what he can do with that space.
And he knocks through the PAT.
29.
So pressure on this offense. They must answer with a touchdown to stay in this game. First play of the drive, they'll come out throwing. Pulls it in. It's Morris. The tackle is made. But the offense is now set up with a 1st and goal from the 8. So now it's 1st and goal. They have to punch it in here to keep this game going. 1st and goal, they'll try to run it in. And they finally stop him at the 3. The offense really threatening now. Goal line formation for the defense. Play action fake. Looking to throw. Launching one to the end zone. And the pass is incomplete just across the goal line. Now they'll set up 3rd and goal. They've got 2 plays left. They got to punch it in or it's game over. On the ground, trying to muscle it across the line. And it's a touchdown. They're an extra point away from double OT. Or you go for 2 and win it right now.
Well, this is one of the benefits of going second when you get into overtime. Now you know what you're facing. You put a touchdown on the board, you can either send it to another overtime if you kick an extra point, or potentially, hey, let's win the game and go for 2 right here.
Keep it on the ground, trying to power in for the touchdown. No, he didn't get in. They stopped him. They gambled to win the game right there. Could not score. In these overtime games, Kirk, it just comes down to execution in the moment. Who can make one more big play? They did it. They come up with a signature W.
Yeah, you're right, Chris. I think this likely will end up being one of the best games, not only for them, but maybe in all of college football for the season. To me, it felt like an instant classic and one that fans should remember for a long time.
And that is going to wrap it up. We enjoyed this.
Okay, so to wrap things up, I like the Texas Longhorns over the Michigan Wolverines. I like the Navy Midshipmen over the Temple Owls. I like the Tennessee Volunteers over the North Carolina State Wolfpack. And I like the Kansas Jayhawks over the Illinois Fighting Illini. On the NFL side, I like the Kansas City Chiefs over the Baltimore Ravens on Thursday. I like the Green Bay Packers over the Philadelphia Eagles on Friday. On Sunday night, I like the Los Angeles Rams over the Detroit Lions. And on Monday night, I like the San Francisco 49ers over the New York Jets. Okay, so basically the next 2 videos are going to be predictions videos as well, so we'll be covering what we do in those. Alright, so the games we'll be covering next week are the Arizona State Sun Devils taking on the Texas State Bobcats, the Oregon Ducks taking on the Oregon State Beavers, and UConn taking on Duke in football. On the NFL side, we'll have the New Orleans Saints taking on the Dallas Cowboys, the Pittsburgh Steelers taking on the Denver Broncos, and the Chicago Bears taking on the Houston Texans on Sunday Night Football. For the Week 4 slate of games, on the college side, we'll have the San Jose State Spartans taking on the Washington State Cougars, the Ball State Redbirds taking on the Central Michigan Chippewas, the Utah Utes taking on the Oklahoma State Cowboys, and the Georgia Southern Eagles taking on the Rebels of Ole Miss. Then on the NFL side, we'll have the Carolina Panthers taking on the Las Vegas Raiders, the Miami Dolphins taking on the Seattle Seahawks, and then we'll have the Monday Night Football doubleheader between the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Buffalo Bills and the Washington Commanders and the Cincinnati Bengals. After that, the next video will be the recap and review for TNA Victory Road. Then we'll have the Week 5 predictions. I won't go into those games. I'll get into them next week. And then we're going to have the random trade review on Kingsway West. See you all next time. Hey guys, remember that you can support my work at patreon.com/sleepytimeforcat productions. Also, remember to like, comment, share, subscribe to my channel, and ring that notification bell so that way you can be alerted to further videos.